Good evening, everybody. What is up? My name is Matt. Welcome back to Gone Diggin, live from the Relic Room. I hope everybody had a great week. I hope you had a great weekend. You got to go outside and hunt for some history and look for some treasure, whether that's on the ocean or the beach shore or in a plowed farm field. Brotherhood Metal Detecting first in the chat this evening. Glad to see you, Eric. Kay's Digging It is here. Man, a lot of great folks at Ezra. So I'm going to butcher this name, but it's GDVL Man. Thanks. I've never seen you in the chat before, and I appreciate you stopping in this evening. Finders Keepers. Bob is here hanging out. Frankie is here. We've got 20 great folks here hanging out with us this evening, and I am super excited about that. Kind of a different stream this evening. I say that every time we do this, but we have Greg from the Florida 6 Hunt. He is an organizer, and he's going to be taking us back to the beginning of the Florida Hunt series, and we're going to go straight into it. So let's see if we can get Greg in here. Boom, Greg, how are we doing this evening?
Doing good, guys. How's everybody going?
Doing great, man. So what you're doing is pretty neat, but let's start a little bit back at the beginning. How long have you been out playing and digging in the dirt?
Well, it dates back to when I lived in New England. It was for a very short time, but really didn't get into metal detecting until I moved to Florida. So you're looking at almost 20 years, but I've only been detecting about 12. That's when I got into the first Florida hunt, which wasn't organized by me. It was this was before Facebook and before the MySpace. It was one of the metal detecting forums, which is still around today. It just doesn't have a lot of activity because with social media the way it is. But Florida Hunt wasn't really called the Florida Hunt. It used to be called the Florida Gathering. I kind of gave it the Hunt name, going back to Florida Hunt 3 is when we started calling them the Florida Hunt.
So this organization's been around, and this is we've been talking about a few things. Florida's a really interesting state when you talk about metal detecting and treasure hunting. I mean, you have everything from 1715 Spanish fleet to St. Augustine and all the history there, all the way down to the tourist beaches of Miami and every beach in between. I mean, Florida has a lot to offer.
And it's year-round detecting for the most part, During the summer months, I usually do most of my research because it gets, too hot. And I'm not a beach hunter, but I don't know. I may start looking into it, and getting out to the beaches some more because I see a lot of people are finding some good stuff. So, but I'm mostly a relic, and a relic or, help people find things if they lose things or whatever. But I'm a relic person. I like the history side of it.
So we have 26 great folks hanging out in the chat. So for everybody who's hanging out in the chat, drop in the comment section if you're going to the Florida 6 Hunt. I'd like to know, and I'm really excited to learn about it. I'm a relic guy myself. I mean, I live in Virginia, but you guys have relics like I dream about finding, whether it's the Seminole War stuff, but you guys have some of the really early 1830s and 40s fort sites down there.
Yeah, I know one of our club members. He's right now he's to the point where he's sifting through one of his sites. They've detected it so much, but some of the stuff they're pulling out of those sites. But the problem with Florida is not like some of the other states. At least in Connecticut, I know it's different. You can pretty much go wherever really, in the woods for the most part. But here, a lot of the older documented sites, if they're not on private property, the state owns them. Once the state confiscate, once the state, stakes claim, so to speak, hunting is off limits. That's why when we get these properties that are so large, like with Florida Hunt 4, we were lucky enough to be on an old mill site. I mean, people were pulling out, 4 inches. Another reason I do the hunts the way I do them is because a lot of these small towns are untouched. People, you go driving down some of these roads, except for the Family Dollar or Dollar Tree or something. You've got old homes just like they were, generations have passed, 3, 4 generations of family live on the property.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's cool, man. Like when you have that kind of family history in small town America, most people only
Yeah.
think of Florida as beaches, Orlando,
Disney.
Walt Disney World, but there's rural Florida for sure. So tell me how, so this started originally as a gathering, right? As like a club
It was
hunt,
a Florida
right?
gathering. It was put on by one of the guys off the website, and obviously now everybody's pretty much gravitated to social media, mostly Facebook. But and that was where I first, my first organized hunt. It was up in the Panhandle. It was like a 6-hour drive, and I had an old White's metal detector back then. And of course, I didn't know any. I thought I can hit the beach with it. I didn't know the difference, with what we know now. The way saltwater reaction. This was a land detector that I had, but it was sold to me like I can go anywhere with it. And I didn't. I wasn't none the wiser. I didn't know much about metal detecting other than what I was reading in magazines. Um, but went up there, and that was where I found my oldest coin to date still. I think it was, well, actually, I think I've got something older, but my oldest large cent was an 1851 large cent. It was at a campground, and I thought somebody had planted it, being that it was an organized hunt. But it was only like 30 people. Those hunts, it was more of a close-knit group of people that got together every year. They used to do one Florida hunt, and then they used to do out in Oklahoma, or was it Kansas? There was an old trail, the Chisholm Trail. That was another hunt that they did, and they went out through the Wild West, like wherever they would, wherever these I guess was wagon trails. They were metal detecting wagon trails, and then eventually that hunt ceased to exist, and then there was another Florida hunt, and then that's when I got my AT Pro 4 years later, and I came across Florida. Florida Hunt 2 was still the Florida Gathering. I didn't go to that one. Then Florida Hunt 3, I came up with the idea, and I said, hey, we can alternate years, because didn't want to take away from what he had started, you know. And that's how we did it. Like I did 3, and then he didn't do another one, and I did 4. And then he had 5, and then now we have 6.
Right.
You know, he's
Over the years, this has evolved, right? And what you told me at the very beginning, it was just a group of guys who went out as a gathering, who went out and started hunting, and
yeah,
but now it's turned in. Then it turned into, well, we'll come out and we'll clean something up or we'll make something better. But
yep.
this year's going to be completely different, and it's the first year you guys are actually charging for the hunt, right?
That's correct. Yeah, only because of the reason is, the organization that we're raising the money for, they use it to support veterans that come out there and be able to do the things that they do for the veterans. It's obviously, in a perfect world, if everything was free, then we wouldn't. These guys, sacrifice their lives. A lot of these guys that come out there on the weekends, some of them, obviously have physical wounds, and everybody that is part of that organization served in the military, or had a family member in the military. But they're a great group of people. I've met a few of them through Home Depot, through work, and that's how a lot of these hunts. That's how I get a lot of these properties. Florida Hunt 3 was at a campground on the Swanee River, which had a Civil War river crossing right off the property. That was fun. We actually found Spanish silver there. Every one of my hunts, knock on wood, somebody's found something really, really unique, or something.
So, and that is really cool, and I'm really excited about that. So here on my channel, I've made made kind of an outside bet with some of the guys I'm with. And my bet is, so for there's about 200 spots, and you have a lot of those spots filled up, right?
And we're at 192, I believe. But again, there may be some of these people that may not go. But I know I've asked several times, hey, if you don't plan on going, we've got a running list every couple of days or so. I get somebody on the page that wants to join, and right now I'm only like friends of friends, or if they're not associated with people that I know, I'm not allowing them on the page, because the page you can see it, but you can't see anything on it. But if you were to do a search for it, you'd be able to find it.
Right.
Right
So
now, I think I've got
if you're a fan
of
the Gone Diggin YouTube channel and you'd like to attend the Florida Six Hunt, we may be the ticket in. But there's a couple things that you have going, right? You have so the amount of money raised for the hunt, and it's pretty inexpensive. It's only $30 for a single day, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
that's correct.
$30 single day, 200 people. So that total amount of money is going to Soldiers Freedom Outdoors, right?
That's correct. Yes, Camp Freedom. Yep, Soldier Freedom Outdoors is the nonprofit, and Camp Freedom is the property out there in Melrose, Florida. It encompasses about 350 acres, but we're only going to detect probably a little under 300 because there's a lake on the property, and that's the only area that's going to be off limits, at least into the water. You can go around the edge of the water, and that's fine.
So right now, for everybody who's in this is a little bit about Soldiers Freedom Outdoors here on their website. Really cool stuff. They have a bunch of different YouTube videos and stuff about their about Camp Freedom and what they do, and how it helps these guys out.
Yeah, I made a new friend.
They do a little bit of everything, a little bit of hunting, fishing, water activities, but a lot of kind of therapeutic time, just out and about, hanging out with in nature with a lot of different folks.
It's really quiet out there too. It's pretty peaceful. I've gone out there a couple of times and just sitting out there, it's pretty quiet.
Yeah, and Greg has a great video of the hunt on the Facebook page. So
the link is on the Facebook page. Yeah, it's unpublished, or on YouTube I have it, so you have to follow the link to see it. So they'd have to see it. Eventually at some point I may make it a public, like a week away from the event, but because I'm trying to eliminate, because one thing, we all know in metal technic community, you'll have people that'll just try to figure out where you're going just so they can, try to get out there before you or what have you. But I know we're in real good communication. We talk weekly, and I give him updates on the page and what's going on. And they're going to have, he's gone above and beyond to help me with the hunt. A lot of the other hunts, we've been lucky. The other hunt, the Florida Hunt 4, we had a building we were able to use, but other than that, you would have had to go to McDonald's or somewhere to use the bathroom, but here, they'll have obviously porta potties there for us, but he's got a covered tent area, which you can see in the video. You'll be able to sit there, eat and talk and whatever, and share your finds. He's going to provide barbecue at a really, really, if it tastes as good as it smelled the day I went up there, I'll tell you, I think we figured it was like $7 to get a drink and a pulled pork sandwich or whatever. But that smoker is like the size of an SUV. It's huge, And because they do a lot of they raise. When they don't have vets out there, they're trying to raise money, and because they're always like right now they're trying to repair the roof on one of the homes that's out there. There's like, I think one building that the veterans that come out there and stay. There's a lady that lives on the property. She oversees the animals and takes care of the animals and watch. Obviously, if people drive out there, the house is right at the front, so she'll see them come in. But Um, yeah, I'm excited. This is, every year as I progress and the hunts get more either detailed or something, it's just, they get bigger. This by far has probably surpassed, membership by about 100 people. Because I think we had 75 people at the Florida Hunt 4, and we had about 30 at Florida Hunt 3, and then I know Florida Hunt 5 only had about 20, 25 because the date for Florida Hunt 5 had changed like twice. And it was in Central Florida. It was south of here, but it was like a lot of people canceled at the last minute. So, uh, yeah, I couldn't get the time off, or I would have went.
Yeah. Michael Busy Bee Detecting says Italian sausage bread, and he will be there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Better bring at least 4 loaves.
And then Bob Horse said, do raffles and whatnot, help the hunt raise money. So what other kind of activities besides? So I know it is a day. It's just a single day, and it is a short day for a lot of people who will be traveling. Me personally, I'm going, and I can't wait. I think it should be a blast.
We'll probably have something else planned for you when you're down here anyway. So, with Larry and everything, hopefully we'll.
Yeah, I mean, and if there's enough folks around, you do have a couple things that you've asked folks not to do, like maybe not to door knock in the town.
Yeah, the property owner, because of being a very tight knit community and smaller community, he asked that, because obviously people are going to go, if people were to door knock, we're here for the hunt out, out at Soldier Freedom Outdoors. That'll kind of give him a black eye, and he's really worked hard with the community out there. So him and I were in agreement, and I don't, even at my other hunts when we did the one in Hawthorne for Florida Hunt 4, it was, but we had that was a 2-day event, and we had 3 locations in metal detect, so there was plenty of room. But I know some people had asked, and I can only ask people not to do it but being that this Melrose it's actually between Melrose and Keystone Heights, but it actually encompasses 4 different counties. So you're going to have to deal with sheriffs in 4 different areas because people won't hesitate to either, you'll know when you go up to, if as you're driving down these roads, there's plenty of, fenced in dogs, the size of a small VW bug, and
well, I don't really think it's just kind of the common courtesy. No. You guys are trying to do something really positive for an organization that does great stuff, and I think
I know we've got
that's a big thing.
We've got the reason I announced it so early too was because I wrote to a lot of companies that had supported me in my hunts in the past for donations and stuff, and a lot of them now, because of things that have happened within the whole metal detecting community as a whole, put a black eye on a lot of the people like me who don't have clubs, big, like our local club is just basically a bunch of people we get together at a local restaurant, show our finds, and and talk hunt, and share ideas and stuff. But some of the larger clubs, they've got the revenue to buy prizes and get stuff at a discount price. So with me doing this hunt by myself, normally, I had some great people that had backed me in the past, but I know things have changed, and they have to do what they have to do as a company, and I understand that. But the reason I decided to launch it early, because of the money that we're trying to raise for this organization, by putting it out there early, hopefully maybe some smaller companies, maybe I know like Calico stepped up, Carolyn, and I've got Dwight with New Age Goonies and Nokta there, and he spoke with Dialect not too long when they were at DEMA there in Florida, and they're going to support us with a prize package. And then I think there was Detect America, Frank is going to send us I think like Charles's unit and some other stuff down here to give away. And other than that, I hope to do like a 50-50 raffle. I'm not sure, what the tickets. I'll have to brainstorm with some people that I've never done a 50-50, so I don't know what they go, where you sell a ticket for in a 50-50. So, but I mean, I've got a few other things I'm working in my head to try to get some prizes and some other stuff, and I'm reaching out to local companies, not necessarily for metal detecting, but maybe sporting goods and some other stuff, might be able to throw something in the ring for us to give away, but
I think my buddy Bob Horst from the Hoover Boys will send you something. Bob, I will text you his address, and you can
Bob,
send
yeah,
some.
Hoover Boys, I got to meet them. Well, I got to meet, help me out here. Come on now. He's like the Hoover boy.
Kurt?
Thank you. Yeah, I met him in
no,
Orlando.
no. Bob's the original. He's the
Really?
oldest. He's the best
talking about
looking.
Bob.
It's square.
Is he the? Oh wait. Yeah. I'm gonna be nice. I've seen Bob in the videos. I think I know which one we're talking about here. But didn't he just get a really good find? Like in one of their last videos, he had like an amazing find, like the find of all finds or something.
Yeah, Bob found a really nice Spanish in the last one I saw.
Yeah. My hunt partner, he watches those guys late at night when he's at the police station. My buddy Joe there. Yeah, we talk.
Right on, man.
Yeah, those were one of the first people that I watched on YouTube.
So
back there.
And for anybody who's interested, so I've kind of made this inside thing that I kind of announced a couple streams ago. My goal is to walk into the Florida 6 hunt with a check for $1,000. For you guys who don't know YouTube, and who for the folks who have supported the channel so far, we've raised $100 towards my $1,000 goal. YouTube, if you do super chat, only gives me about 70% of the total amount of the super chat. So I will make up the difference to make that 100% whatever you super chat. So that is what I'm looking forward to. If you're not interested in using the super chat feature, if you go on the Gone Diggin page, there is a PayPal tip jar. Anything that I get up to $1,000, because that is my goal to donate to these folks, we will make that happen, and we'll have a check for $1,000 for Camp Freedom. So I'm really excited about that. I know that Barb, you absolutely can. And if you're interested for PayPal, let's see if I can throw that in there. Nope, that is not my PayPal. There you go. Let's go ahead and do.
I appreciate everything everybody's doing. It's of course, in light of recent news, on the news, veterans. I know a lot of people that I've spoke to locally, coming to grips with certain things. A lot of anything that helps them, in transitioning back to civilian life or whatever, and I got to meet a couple of the vets that were out there. Actually, they were having a women's weekend. Like they had 6 women. They do really small groups. They do at the most maybe 10. They keep it real, close knit, and each of them walk away with like a little plaque or something. They all get, they each get a plaque for the attending one of the events out there. But yeah, I'm really excited. I joined the Army when I was 17, and then went active duty and went to reserves until 92, 93. But I know, like Mike Boyles, they're busy bee detecting. He's still he's still in the reserves down in the Navy down there. And I've got a lot of other friends, like I said,
So
I may not be able to help in other ways.
A big shout out to Kay's Digging It, a super chat of $20, and that will go right into the to the foundation. So thank you very much, Kay. So I guess let's go towards a little more towards what kind of done that. So it's 350 acres with about a 50-acre lake in the center. So about 300 acres, give or take, for about 200 people. That's pretty good space to go out, meet new friends, have a great day to dig. So Back Alley Talk asked, what's the history of the site? And there's there's kind of some interesting kind of rumors about what's going on around there as well.
Yeah. Now Melrose itself, it goes back when I was doing my research for my video, and prior to that, going back to when DeSoto was coming through Florida and blazing a trail. At one point, there's Santa Fe Lake, which is in between Melrose and Gainesville. It's one of the largest lakes there, and there was an Indian. I'd have to pull it up. I can't think of the particular tribe leader or the Indian, the leader there. But he wanted to ambush DeSoto in Melrose. What is now Melrose. And that was 1539, I believe, or 1549. I want to say 1539. And then it was like a 3-hour battle or something, and like over 1,000 Indians had perished, and I only found a small excerpt of the story in a historical quarterly from like the 80s. There's not much other than that. I mean, I'd have to go through other history books, but I just found that as an interesting tidbit. Other than that, you had there was a Union, the 4th Massachusetts Cavalry Regiment, when they were heading down to the battle, what would become the Battle of Gainesville, or the skirmish. It was more of a running battle. The Federal troops were down there. The Confederate, came out there and pushed them out of Gainesville. We've only had a few small little things here. You had, Alusty obviously was, a much larger thing, and that's just north of us here. But you had Civil War troops that have moved through there. You had the Spanish at some point, and then obviously, you've all the Indians. And I know Melrose is known for their burial mounds. Now, obviously, digging in a burial mound is a major no-no. But I mean, around bodies of water in that area, it's not uncommon to find arrowheads. So, you're not going to find that with a metal detector unless you find some Stone Age, point, or whatever
Right.
it's called. But yeah, so from the 1500s all the way up to, the town itself was, it was mid 1800s for Melrose. Keystone, which is, we fall in between Keystone and Melrose. Keystone was the early turn of the century, like 1910, a little bit larger than Melrose. Melrose kept its quiet, small communities. I mean, you drive down the main road, and the main road when you're coming into Melrose, which everybody's going to have to drive when they come from Gainesville. I think majority of everybody I know, like Barb and a lot of other folks, are staying in Gainesville because we're going to have a meet and greet on that Friday, which we can touch base on. But that road, which is 26, is actually part of the old Bellamy Road, which was one of the first federal highways through Florida that connected, I want to say St. Augustine to Tallahassee, somewhere. Yeah. But, that was built, and then once the Civil War happened, then it was obviously used for major, travel when the troops were getting off and up towards, the coast there and then coming down. It was just, this is Florida. I mean, my backyard, I go into a little creek back there and I'm pulling out shark's teeth, because they always say that Florida at one point was underwater. So anywhere you dig deep enough, you're going to find something,
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, the history. That's why I love finding these little towns, because I know, like a lot of places, like when you guys go to these bigger hunts now that have been around for a while, now you have to dig deeper to find the good stuff, because everything that was at the surface is gone. Like I said, in Florida Hunt 4, people were finding half dimes, half dollars at 4 inches. It was just crazy. The amount of stuff people were pulling. But there obviously was
So lots of traveling history with anything from Spanish to Civil War to 1800s.
colonial. Yeah.
So the actual property itself, was it a farm the whole time, or was it, Is there a house on it? Were there any house sites? And
Nothing. There's not like the other previous hunt that the past hunt, the Florida Four. There's nothing as far as we know. There is a rumor about something being on the property, which is kind of, I don't know if I know you and I talked briefly about it. I don't know if that was something we wanted to divulge on the stream. I'll do it if I have to.
well, I
I'm
mean,
excited
we
about it
can
because
talk about it. I think it's interesting. I think it's something that when you go out metal detecting, there's always the possibility of finding a grave or a burial place that you were unexpected. In fact, a lot of times I really worry about it in the Civil War areas that I hunt because field
yeah,
burials weren't marked. I mean, of all the men and women that or men that died during the American Civil War, very few were lucky enough to actually have regular burials under known names. Um,
and there is an old cemetery attached to one of the churches here in town too. Um, that has, I believe, some Civil War soldiers buried in it. And going back to not knowing if you're metal detecting or recently in the news, I don't know if you saw that down in Tampa, there was a cemetery that was built over by the high school. They found 143 unmarked graves.
I did see that they GPR used the
Yeah, I think it was
GPR and found a
143.
bunch of
Yeah,
graves.
yeah, and they showed the map, and you can just see like they used like ground penetrating radar to identify them. But that is part of the rumor. I'll go ahead and let the cat out the bag. The What we have is that during our initial discussion of metal detecting on the property, he did say that there was rumor. Now, I've had a local historian, can't verify that yet. Doesn't mean it's not out there, but there will be a. Um, what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy a 1 ounce silver coin or round. I'm not sure yet. I've got so many local stores here, but if anybody can identify, or we can, as a community, as a hunt group, find this location, the person who identifies it or finds it, and there will be someone out there that will have the proper machinery to scan that to see if there is something there, because then obviously we want to make sure that we, you know, get it blocked off, and maybe they can put a nice little fence around it, and like they did up the road here. There was an old church. They found the grave and they put a fence around it, and they put a new marker over dating back from the 1800s, and they identified through records. But that'd be nice to be able to find that anyway, because that's it's all about saving the history. But if somebody somebody finds it, that's a lot of acreage for only like an 8 to 9, 10-hour day. I mean, we're going to be sun up to sun down. So and he did mention about having a bonfire out there, but I don't think it'd be kind of dark and with alligators and somebody, we don't want no one to disappear.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and that's also what I like. I like the idea that you could get eaten by an alligator and water moccasin and every other normal thing that I don't get to see in Virginia that is just what you guys have in Florida. So that's exciting. I saw a lot of chat about what the temperature is going to be like in February. So just throw out what is a normal February day.
Well, it depends. I mean, we've been in the 30s. That was a really cold hunt too. But I mean, the last two that I've done, I mean, it was 70s during the day, 50s at night. But then again, it could be 87. Now we had like an 81-degree day yesterday, or it was 80 degree. We're only 6 degrees off of breaking the record. And then it was 30 degrees the other morning. So my allergies have been going crazy. But I mean, there's no telling. This is Florida. I mean, we're more north, so it's not like Miami where it's 80 degrees year round. But it's going to be an adventure, and it's going to be fun, and it's going to be something that I have people that travel. Like, people will come into town and be like, they'll stop into my part-time job, and they'll be like, "Hey, are you Greg the metal detecting guy?" It's like funny is like people from other clubs down South Florida. I've had people from out of state. I had a TV crew from out of state. That's why I'm wearing their hat here. They were making a TV show from Pennsylvania. They were helping somebody, and they were down here visiting. And there's a couple places that we took them to hunt, and it was funny is they were like, "Oh, we heard you're the guy to get in touch with down that area part of Florida." It's just over the years, we're going back almost 8-9 years now that we've pretty much made a presence known for ourselves. We've got members that help find your yard. A couple of our guys just found rings the other day for somebody. So we cover the whole gambit down this way. But again, we can detect year round.
Yeah, that's pretty.
During the summer, it's too hot. Like the last summer, it was like 100, 105 degrees, like every day with the heat index. And no, I don't do heat well.
No,
I mean,
I can't do that. It's not the.
It's the humidity.
Yeah, it's humidity. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So.
But going back to.
It's going to be a fantastic hunt. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a cool weekend to hang out and find some treasure with some new folks. Who else did I see here? I saw some folks pop in. Back Alley sounds like a great site. I think any day that you're going to be out metal detecting with 200 of your closest friends is going to be the day of work. So
yeah, and I a lot of times I pick my places based on the history of the area. Florida Hunt 4 was very successful, and that kind of set a precedence for my hunts. And I think, that's why this hunt has grown in the popularity. Even if it was free or whether, I think it's just, yeah. I mean, the numbers almost double every year. Every hunt that I have, the numbers seem to double. Of course, the property, this is by far the largest property because the Florida Hunt 4 was only 65 acres. But I've really excited.
I think
after it's all said and done.
I think the interesting part too is what you guys are doing. You're doing a lot more than just putting on a metal detecting event. You're supporting a charity organization that a lot of people can get behind, whether it's you are a serviceman or woman, or you have a family member who's a serviceman or woman, or you just like helping people out. And I really like that. New Level Auto wants you to rap.
Me rap?
Yeah. Are you a rapper?
No.
No.
No. I know. Back in the day, in the '80s, I did break dance. But yeah, I'll be 49. I'll be this hunt will be kind of like a birthday hunt for me because my birthday's at the end of February and I'll be 49. So
yeah.
I hope I can be doing this till I'm 79, but I don't know. My knees. I moved to Florida to get out of the cold from New England, but now when it gets cold down here with hurricane season, I can always tell before the hurricanes hit because my knee and my elbow will my arthritis kicks in. So yeah, rap man. That's good. You know why? Because I use my hands a lot. I'm Italian, so I tend to talk with my hands too.
So do you have the I guess the next other kind of pertinent stuff? Do you have obviously there'll be a map. All of that stuff will be posted on the Florida Hunt.
It's going to be on the Facebook page. Yeah, and I'm also going to have probably some extra. He's going to email me a waiver. He's got his own waiver for the property, and he's going to have a more detailed map other than the Google Earth one that I did, just outlining the property. So yeah, we'll have those. I'm hoping to get those within the next week, so that I can scan them and get them on the page so people can see it and download it.
Meet and greet.
Thank you. Yeah, the meet and greet. That's going to be Friday night because I mean, he wants me to collect the money and then give it to him. Originally, I was going to set up a PayPal, but Then if you have people canceling, and it's just easier if I collect the money Friday night or Saturday morning. My wife and we've got a few other volunteers. Saturday morning we're going to have 2 or 3 tables set up based. Now I have the list on the Facebook pages based on your first name, not last name. So like I just went through Facebook and just copied, and I've been updating it like every day. I'm either taking one off or putting one on. But yeah, the Friday night, I'm not 100% sure. I'm probably 95% sure we're probably going to have it over there at the Santa Fe Community College, where my home partner Joe, he's a police officer there, and he usually gets us the room, a classroom there for our meetings. So obviously, a group of this size, it'll be kind of something for 2 hours just to hang around and talk. Now, I have to get this particulars because somebody else told me they don't allow beverages in the classroom. I don't know if that's during class time or,
will there be any vendors there for folks?
On Saturday, Kelly Co is going to be there, and Nokta Nokta, Dwight from New Age Goonies. He's one of their nomads, one of their representatives. He'll be there at the hunt, as well as there's a couple other people I'm still waiting to hear if they're coming or not from smaller detecting companies that provide equipment. I'm not going to say anything until I know if they're going to come or not, because I don't want to say it and then they don't show, or then people get disappointed. So I try to keep the disappointment level to a minimum.
I think everybody's going to have a good time. It's going to be fun, and I think we're going to be absolutely excited about that. Any other things, man, that you would be you would want folks to know, or did we get it all?
Any what now?
Any other things we want folks to know? Did we catch it all?
I'm trying to think. Well, I know a lot of folks. I mean, if you're looking for places to stay, I know I was telling people the campground wise, you have the Paynes Prairie campground. That's probably but that's a little bit further south. But I know a lot of people I know Barb and a few others have booked a room at the Gatortown Inn. It's just south of the University of Florida. Hotel wise, I mean, there's a lot. I know. I mean, a lot of the local folks, obviously, if you're half an hour to 45 minutes away, coming up that morning would be fine. We're hoping to get up there, 7 o'clock and be set up. I'll probably set up the day before maybe, and set the tables. Like a lot of his stuff is already set up, but like as far as our stuff being set up, our tables, probably go out there the day before or something. And like I said, he's going to have volunteers that are kind of monitor, around the perimeter and so forth, if people get lost. But you'd have to jump a fence to get off his you're not going to just keep on walking through the woods and then end up in somebody else's property. You would actually have to jump a fence. But another thing I do want to note, and I just remember looking at a message, one of our local club members, he's a history teacher, and he's also works a lot with a lot of archaeologists. And what we're trying to do, and I'm still waiting to hear back from one of the local historical groups that are between Melrose and Keystone. I'm just trying to see how active they are, if there's something that if we find anything of historical relevance, that we might be able to donate to. There is a small museum in the city of Melrose, but it's like the size of like a 1-bedroom. It's really small. I couldn't see inside of it, but it's in my video. It's a historical museum. It's just like, I think it has more literature on the area. But if we can find something of relevance, maybe something that might be able to add to their display, maybe. But again, I'll have more info at the meet and greet on that. We hope that, or maybe another historical group reaches out to us. But our one group member, Tom, he's going to have a table and area set up where we can catalog if anybody finds anything and, wants to have somebody with the knowledge to look at some of these items, and if somebody wants to, the property owner doesn't want anything as far as items, unless we find like a 50-gallon drum full of gold coins or something. then we'd have to, cut them in. But,
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
but other than that, I'm just trying to think. I mean, there's so many I have a lot of little loose ends. I mean, with smaller things, but the hunt itself, obviously, I don't go out to a place and try to recon it with my metal detector. When we go to a place, no one's set foot on that property, with a metal detector, um, prior to us. At least not to the. I mean, he's owned it since. I don't know who owned it before he did, but I know it was a farm of some sort. I know, going back to someone's earlier question, but as far as I know, there's nothing old. I mean, somebody may stumble upon an old remnants of an old chimney or something in the middle of the woods out there, because I noticed the one thing that, looking at a lot of the photos from Melrose, that I included in my video, there was one common denominator amongst all those photos, and every photo was either by the water or in the woods. I mean, and these people weren't like on the edge of the woods. These people were, the trees that were next to these people were huge. I mean, and there's a lot of old trees on this property. I was hoping to get a drone out there prior to making my video, but I just couldn't get time constraints. I just couldn't get the people out there. So I know a few people said they may bring a drone with them to the hunt. So at least, when we do, because I'll do a wrap up video and we'll have a hunt video put together. And I know all the YouTubers, there's a handful of YouTubers that are coming from, I think you're the farthest north confirmed. I know Frank's in New Jersey, but it's not confirmed yet. And then we got people from Mississippi, Texas, both Carolinas, all over Florida, pretty much South Florida, North Florida, Central Florida. I'd probably say at least 100 people are from Florida, but the other ones are all from all over. And that's one good thing I like, because you know what? You meet people from all over the country. You learn their ways of hunting, because everybody doesn't hunt the same. And you always learn, if you can take one thing away from learning from somebody else, that'll make you a better hunter or a better, I don't want to call us historians, but like I'm a relic person. I mean, I'll spend hours. I'll find one little piece of metal that'll have a design on it, and I'll spend 6 hours looking on Google till I find it, or somebody else helps me find it for the most part. But yeah, and this particular area, and I'm pretty sure, I don't know if Larry spoke to you, there's a few places around here where almost every one of us has pulled something Civil War out of it. And it's kind of funny where it is. I mean, you wouldn't think of pulling Civil War items out of this particular area. But my
Hey
most
man,
famous
all I
item,
need to find is one Florida militia button, and I'll be good.
yeah, hey, well,
And
yeah, hey,
I
fingers
can
crossed.
dream big, right? I can dream big.
Yeah, I mean, I did find an 1870s officer's belt plate, and that was 6 inches in the ground out of the most randomest place you'd ever think of finding it. I mean, yeah, we'll take you to some places when you come down, because I know you come down a little early. There's a few places, I should be able to get some time off, maybe in Larry, you know, and I know he's been doing a lot of research too. So, but he's been a big help on the page, kind of keeping the my phone from going off, because we've had so many people trying to join up. Him and my wife's been helping too, but usually she just helps by yelling across the house. She'll tell me, "Hey, so and so's wanting to join the page." Like when you were putting your post up there, she was like, "So and so wants to put the post up." I'm like, "Yeah, approve it." But I'm excited. It's getting, we're down to that, that final count, and down to the wire. And I I think this is good. I think we're gonna pass. We're gonna surpass Florida Hunt 4. I got the feeling, not just on body count, but on finding the history here. I want to say it's probably even deeper, than Hawthorne's from Florida Hunt 4, just because a lot of the generations, from what I've been reading, a lot of the people that live there now, their great grandfather, after moved to Florida, built the house. I mean, just on a side note, there's a 250-acre historical neighborhood It's like a bunch of dirt roads. You can zigzag around, and I tried to take pictures of a couple of them, but most of them are hidden behind trees. Um, but there's a lot of good restaurants, a lot of good food too. So if you guys are, staying, those of you that are staying after or coming a little bit early, I'm a Google food guide. If you want some good restaurants around town, they, but yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I am too,
And I
man.
know I get to see a lot of great people that I haven't seen since Florida Hunt 4, like Mike Boyles. I know he passes through every once in a while, but I get to see him, and I got some other folks coming. A lot of good people.
Yeah,
So,
it's
and
going to be
we
a
get to
great
meet you.
time. And we've got a bunch of great folks here hanging out in the chat. If you haven't reached over there and clicked that like button, make sure you do that. We've made it all the way to 53 minutes, and in no time at all, man.
And I probably could, and I'm drinking out of somebody says, I don't want to get this on camera. This is the Florida, my friend Paul Hill got this made for me at Florida Hunt. I don't know if you guys can see it. It
The Florida
says,
Hunt series, nice.
yeah, Florida Hunt Series, yeah. Thought that was pretty neat, so it keeps my beverage cold. Um, but yeah, I'm just trying to think of any little tidbits of those that are in the chat that are coming. Just make sure if you don't have something, we've got a Dollar Tree or Family Dollar, I don't know. One of those is there's a grocery store half a mile away, but like I said, we're trying to have everything on site. He'll have waters like $1 for a water or something, but I plan on bringing a cooler full of water because,
But
I know my wife said she wanted me to make sure that I detected more at this hunt because on Florida Hunt 4, I spent more time running around taking photos and videotaping, but that's just my thing, man. This is me giving back to the community, and we're doing a good thing, and I can always go back down the road, and hunt, but I've got so many other little side places to hunt. Now it's getting cooler weather. On my days off, I try to go out and actually do a little detecting myself. So
that's right. That's right. So the other last question: cell phone reception pretty reasonable out there.
I hadn't had a problem. Every once in a while, I mean, I'm using Sprint, but my GPS usually when you start to get out into the country, the map will disappear. But the 3 times that I've been out there, I had no problem whatsoever. On sharing something. I turned off my location thing only because I didn't want, my photos to, in the beginning when I was taking the photos, I didn't want, those photo sleuths, the ones that try to find out where you're hunting.
Oh yeah. Oh
They
yeah.
say, yeah, they, but no, as far as I know, no. And then I know he said something about maybe having a hotspot out there. I was thinking about doing like a live stream or some kind of update from there, but sometimes trying to do it on your phone, the signal will cut out. So if we can get a hotspot out there, that'd be kind of neat. So if people
We'll do
wanted to,
a
share
Gone
their,
Diggin live stream for sure. Keith
there
asked
we
about
go.
coil size, mainly woods. Barb answered him, said there's a few big fields, but a lot is woods. So
Yeah, it's mostly trails, woods. There's 3 big fields, and I know I posted on the page about trying to have people carpool together. It was brought to me that was an idea that they've seen in previous location, other hunts to kind of limit. I mean, we've got a pretty good sized strip of road that goes in that we can park on the left and the right, but 200 people, that I don't think there's going to be 200 cars, but I don't want to have to take unnecessary field out of the hunt to park because he has an overflow field that he uses for his events for people to park in, when they do their horse things and whatever have you. But I'd rather have as much open land as I can, for you
so
guys to hunt. Because you
carpool.
know what, you might park your car over a belt plate or a Florida militia button, and then you never know because you can walk 4 feet. I remember Florida Hunt 4, a guy turned around. I said, "Hey, go hunt by those old trees over there." Next, what? He pulls out an 18 something half bus dime something, and I was like, "Seriously, you just found that there?" I mean, it was literally 4 inches in the ground. So,
Yeah.
you know, I got good vibes about this, and I know everybody that knows me, from on Facebook that's knows me from all my Florida hunts. That when I get excited, I get excited. You'll see me. I'm gonna be running around like road runner out there, man. On my coffee and whatever else. No alcohol, no alcohol at the field. I'm just saying, energy drinks or whatever. You know,
Yeah, absolutely.
we'll have a good time. We'll have bonfire. We got barbecue. We'll have it all.
Yeah,
Now we
it's
just
going to
gotta
be great.
find all the good stuff.
So, man, we've had a great hour for the folks who are interested. Greg, we're going to get you back in the stream sometime, and we're going to talk about something other than organized relic hunting, if you're good with
Oh
that.
yeah, for sure. Oh yeah,
And
no doubt.
we're going to talk about all kinds of other fun stuff. This is going to be a great time. I like to tell folks, if you go for the experience, you'll never be disappointed. If you go for the relics, you're going to go home sad. I guarantee with what you guys have set up, relics will only be icing on the cake because it's going to be a great time.
Oh yeah, exactly. And that's what it's all about. That friendships. Because there's going to be people that I'm going to meet for the first time. And guess what? We'll be friends for life. And anybody that knows me and knows, how we do things in this part of Florida is, that's just the door is just opened, and I've made friends for life in a lot of these other hunts, and I've stayed friends with them for over 10 years, and we hunt when we can together, and I'm excited. I haven't already said that about 10 times already, but we got, let's see, it's December 10th. Yay, we're just under 2 months now.
Yep, that's right. So, Greg, I appreciate you coming on the show.
And thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So don't go anywhere. I'm just gonna slide you off to the side just for a second.
All right.
So, huge thanks to Greg for first of all for organizing the Florida Hunt 6. It's going to be a fantastic event. Great folks, great people. Larry Stewart and all the folks that are hiding in the background that are working on this as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you have the opportunity to go to the Florida Hunt 6, if you don't make it this year and you'd like to go next year, keep your eyes out. Send Greg a Facebook message or a friend request, and you'll be able to see it that way. A lot of other information. Again, I'm going to continue to try to raise some money for the Camp Freedom, over the next few weeks, and hopefully we can get to that $1,000 range for them. And if we don't, that's okay. Whatever we raise here, I will match whatever the super chats are to make it an even 100%, and we will have a donation to a great organization thanks to you guys. Best metal detecting community in the world, right here on the Gone Diggin YouTube group, here on Facebook, and everybody that shows up every week. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, how much each of you have impacted my life every single time we get to hang out on a Tuesday night or leave a comment in one of the silly ass videos I make. Excuse me if your children are watching this. I really appreciate you coming out. If you guys have any questions, in the About section on the YouTube page, you can send me an email or send me a Facebook friend request, and I'll get all of Greg's information so you can exchange raffle prizes or any of that stuff as well. We will make all of that happen. But anyway, you guys are the best. Just like I say every week, I got to go out and save some history today. This week, I hope you get to go out and save some history. And if you don't get to go out and save history, I hope you're able to go out and make history. My name is Matt. This is Gone Diggin' live from the Relic Room. I appreciate you hanging out with me on a Tuesday night, and we will see you next time. Thanks, everybody.